Welcome to the Life Success Legacy Podcast. We're glad you're here, and we hope you enjoyed this episode. All right, welcome back, podcast listeners. As you can tell, today you get to see my face, Mike Crawford. I'm usually behind the scenes, but I'm joined with Chris Bay. And today we have kind of a special topic at hand. The Life Success Legacy team, mostly Chris Bay, we're coming out with a new book. We sent out an email blast about this a while ago, thanking everybody for their ongoing support of our team and our efforts in spreading the infinite banking message. But this book is a culmination of years of thought and energy by Chris Bay. And I think we're just excited to get this out into the public, right, Chris?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's I think our primary thing is that we want our listeners, our podcast listeners, to get like early access and at a discount, so we're sending, hey, if you want to get the ebook for 99 cents, we're going to give you a link and you can do that. It's kind of as a thank you for listening and following us.
Right. Absolutely. Chris, I think one of the biggest questions people have asked us or over the course of the production of this book is, where is the inspiration coming from? What inspired you to pen this book?
So I would say this goes back, the genesis of this book goes back probably a decade to when we first were learning about infinite banking, my wife and I. And I remember we were living in an old 1920 farmhouse, which as you read the book, you may pick up on that. That's part of the setting. And we were walking down the road, the gravel road, holding hands and, reflecting and talking and dreaming and all that. And we're talking about IBC. And at that point, what I was thinking is, man, we've been so blessed to have wise, caring people share into our lives. Mm-hmm. And at that point, it was like, wow, I could like write something, and it was be for our daughters type of a thing. I could write something that kind of culminates or pulls together the wisdom and the mentorship that people have provided. Well, as the years went on, and we not only implemented IBC, but I became an IBC coach and became a business partner with Mike Everett. I was like, I could see writing this book around IBC, but I like learning from stories, parables, fables, etc. And so really where this was inspired was as we worked with our clients and the creative ways that they use their IBC systems, especially in creating family banks, the story became really clear to me. Like it wasn't hard. I had it in my head and I was like, this is what I would love to share with people.
Awesome. Yeah, that's such a Chris Bay statement too, is like, giving what we've been given, sort of giving back to the people that we've been able to help over the course of time. I'm not a creative person. I think everybody would know that who's met me or had interactions with me. I think more analytically and numbers based, I think. But how would you sit down and create a book? How did you go about, writing this book?
Well, it starts with, I have like a bullet journal that I keep for just gathering ideas, whether it's about our business or about our family or something I'm researching or whatever. And I just started, sometimes it's just, sketching out a semantic web or ideas or whatever. And I kind of thought about a family and over generations, what are the ways that IBC could be applied? And so I thought about, for an older person, what role could IBC play for them and how they could actually create a family bank using IBC. And then for someone who's in their 50s or in their 30s, or even a young child. And so I kind of thought in time periods over the course of a human's life, and what would the application of IBC look like? What could it look like during that? And so really, if you look back at my notes, it's like, okay, what would it look like when you're 50 or when you're 10 or whatever? And then I just started developing the story from there. But I will say I'm not a writer.
Right.
We do have a writer in the family. That's Lily Bay, and she's excellent. And she would encourage me along the way. And she's like, "You're doing great, Dad." I was like, "I don't know what I'm doing."
So it's a labor
But
of love.
absolutely, absolutely. But I would say, because I'm not a writer, and because, as you know, we're really busy
Yeah.
helping people with their
Yeah.
IBC plans, I didn't have the skill set or the time to fully do the entire process. I don't know how to get a book published.
Sure.
I don't know how to get it on Amazon or make it available to people and all that. And I came across a business in California. They're based in California, called Author's Bridge.
Hmm.
Helen Chang is the founder of that business, and she has a great team, Iris and Lori and all of them. And what they do is they help business people write books.
Oh, cool.
And when I saw her business, when I ran across her business, I was like, that would be so cool to work with someone like that. And so we would set up, 2 hours at a time meetings. And this has been what would you say, like a year-long actual writing process?
I would say about, yeah.
Yeah. And so Helen and I would meet on a regular basis for a couple hours at a time. And I had written some example chapters
Hmm.
and kind of laid out my ideas. And what she was fantastic at, which sometimes was like moving my cheese, to reference another book, it was like, I have this idea. And she's like, yeah, but we're going to do this. And I was like,
Right.
okay. And I'm grinding my teeth going, but that's not what I thought. But it was so
Right.
much better. It was just me having to shift my position. So she really helped with creating a story arc and then really developing the characters. And then obviously their team in helping us publish, and what are the things we need to think about in terms of getting it out to people.
Get the
They're
details
they're
all put together.
fantastic. I would recommend Author's Bridge to anyone who's interested in writing a book like this. And I just got lucky because I said I want this to be a story, a
Hmm.
parable. And Helen, the founder of the company, says, "Oh, that's great because I'm the one who writes those." So I didn't get, delegated off to someone else. It was
Yeah.
Helen I got to work with, and that was a blast.
That's super cool. It kind of brings up another topic, though, as you were explaining the process of getting the book on paper and then all your notes and, kind of putting your collective ideas together. There's a lot of other books out there about infinite banking, including a
Mm.
couple of Nelson Nash's, Becoming Your Own Banker, Case for IBC, and a few others. What makes this book stand out, or why would you feel that it was necessary to put this book into the public?
Absolutely. There are fantastic IBC books out there, and
Hmm.
this is not to replace them at all. Nelson, as we always say, boy, start with becoming your own banker. The infinite banking concept, becoming your own banker. This is to supplement it. And what I know based on education, I think we all know this, is that people have different learning styles.
Absolutely.
And sometimes we will read something and it clicks maybe 60%,
Hmm.
but to get that last 40%, maybe take some different angles.
Right.
And because I like learning from stories, I like reading, even back in my principal days, I loved reading business books that were written in a story format. And then I would take those concepts and apply it to an education environment. I think when you read a technical book,
Hmm.
there's some things that sometimes could be added to that. And that's why I wrote this in a story format, because I think when you get in the context of a story and you connect with characters and you don't get caught up in like the details, there's no numbers, there's no graphs in this book,
Right.
right? So if you're a technically minded person, this probably isn't going to be the book for you. What this book is for is to put it in context and inspire possibilities and maybe expand your imagination of, oh, I could create a banking system that could span generations. And here's some ideas of how that could happen. So that's
So
really
maybe
the
it's more about
purpose.
a perspective and just sort of like giving out examples of a different approach from a from a parable perspective.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. So
And it's a short book. I mean, I've got the author's version here,
mhm,
and I'm looking at it at the very last page. It's page 69. I mean, it's a short book, so
right.
you can read it in less than an hour and a half.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So we kind of get the baseline. We understand where you came from, and now we've understood how you've gotten it into the market. What are people expecting to learn from this? I know that you said it's a parable, but what are we hoping to gain as readers from
Mhm.
taking the time to read this book?
Yeah. So I think it's application.
Okay.
I think it is a person who reads this book is going to expand their imagination about the possibilities. It's not highly technical. There are examples of how, like, a business owner can use it for taxes. There are examples of how, an older person maybe can bless and gift for their grandchildren. There's examples of why I might want to reconsider that 401k and dumping money into that, and I might do something differently, or applying it to college tuition and so forth. So
Right.
there's lots of examples of wherever you are in life. Hopefully, I've touched on in the book applications that you may not have thought about, that you could go, oh, that's really cool. Now, the follow up is, if you're like, okay, that gives me an idea, but I don't know how to do that. Well, guess who's available? Our team.
Right.
We love talking to people about how they can apply these things to their lives and wherever they
Exactly.
are.
I was
Yeah.
actually thinking that as you were saying, I chuckled because that's exactly what our boot camps are designed for, is the practical application questions, the things that are maybe outside of the person that's attending that boot camp's purview, but there's other people in that room, including us as coaches, that either have had experience with that or are willing to dive into that with you, to get that, um, you know, as we call them, like the activator going, whether
Right.
that be,
Right.
where to find the money to start, or also maybe just how do I even apply this in my life? And so I'm excited that this book will sort of fill some of those gaps and give people, practical applications across a broad range of um, life situations that they might be able to apply this to.
Yeah, and I would add, there's a theme in this book about people reflecting on their dreams and what they want to accomplish.
Hmm.
And the main character in the book, he's kind of stuck,
Okay.
and he's living a life that I think a lot of us have lived, and we're doing what's been taught. We're doing the best we know how to do, but he's kind of forgotten about his dreams. And so, to me, it's also an inspiration to the reader, of
Hmm.
don't forget those dreams. And oh, by the way, they're possible. Sometimes the barrier is a financial barrier. We
Absolutely.
can help with that piece.
Yes.
That's what IBC does. But what we love to do at Life Success and Legacy is we love to know, what's the life you want to live? And now let's figure out how to get you there. And oh, by the way, the financial piece, we'll address that with IBC, but
Right.
let's talk about what you want to create.
Right. And that's you created the dream conversation for that very purpose, was to dive deeper. This is going into how we actually use IBC, but it relates to the book, I think, as well, from the perspective of, the main character's dream, and they're kind of stuck in their situation, and this gives a
Mhm.
really good perspective on how that could be applied.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
We
Chris,
hope
you've
so.
given us some really great information. I think that our listeners would love to now know, where can they get a copy of this book and how do they obtain it?
Yeah, so there's several opportunities. It's going to be releasing in ebook form. I believe it's July 23rd.
Okay.
And that's what we want to do, is we want to give them an offer, because it's going to be for like a six day period where they could get the ebook for 99 cents.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay.
if they're just wanting to get a Kindle copy of it and be able to read through it, for 99 cents,
Right.
that's a great way to do it. It will also be available in paperback on Amazon. Also, we have a website that someone I know, Michael Crawford, did a great job, an amazing job. In fact, we may want to provide that link as well for people just so they can check out
Yeah.
the website that we created for the book, Family Banking with Purpose. And so they can purchase a paperback copy from there as well.
Okay, cool. So we have a couple of different avenues. There'll be a 6-day window that we're going to be able to buy the book for 99 cents on Amazon, and then we'll also have our website, which I'll link in the notes of the podcast here, for people to go to our actual website to get this book purchased.
That's right.
Awesome. Well, cool. Chris, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I just again, I encourage people to dream and to check things out, maybe take that next step and not get stuck in thinking, oh, this might not be possible. I remember years ago going through a seminar, and they had us do an exercise of what are the things that, man, at the end of our life, it would feel really cool to have done.
Right.
And writing a book was one for me. I had no
Cool.
idea what kind of a book. It could have been a children's book, or, who knows. But I remember writing that down, and I'm a big fan of writing down our goals and setting up plans towards achieving those.
Right.
And for me, kind of a bucket list type of a thing to say, we've written a book, and this book I think could really help a lot of people. So
Absolutely.
I say that in that I'm hopefully modeling going for my dreams, and I encourage our listeners and our clients and our friends that don't stop dreaming. Go after them. And if you see a barrier, reach out for help. There's people out there who can help you accomplish those things.
Awesome. Well, cool. That's such great information, Chris. I really appreciate that. Listeners, thank you so much for joining us. Again, July 23rd, you can start obtaining this Kindle version of the book for 99 cents for 6 days. We'll also have it available on our website, familybankingwithpurpose.com. And as always, if you don't have a copy of Nelson's book, Becoming Your Own Banker, please, please, please get a copy of that as well at our website, lifesuccesslegacy.com, or on familybankingwithpurpose.com as well.